Welcome everyone to our last session of the day, shifting from venting to enlightenment. And we have with us Kylie Roberson and Kelly Seitzman.
Hello, it is Friday, the last session of OLA 2020 Annual Conference. So thank you all for being here and hanging in there with us. We're so glad you're here. And there's already some really exciting conversation happening in the chat. So we are very much looking forward to talking with you today about this concept of moving from venting to enlightenment. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please download the handout that was associated with this session. You're going to need that for an activity. And then in the shared notes field in the left-hand side under your public chat, go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead and write your name and your library and your contact information where we can best reach you. Today, you're going to be starting to build your network that will help you grow professionally and personally. So go ahead and fill that out there, and we will download that, and Amigos will send that out to you after this session. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I am Kelly Seitzman. I'm with Pioneer Library System, and this is my wonderful friend, colleague, spirit animal, Kylie Roberson with Tulsa City County Library. Welcome, Kylie. So good to see you.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, everybody. So excited to be here with you today, and really excited about this topic. I think you guys will get a lot out of this session, as Kelly and I both did at ALA Leadership Institute last year.
Yeah, so we're going to get a little bit into the background of this activity, but as Kylie mentioned, she and I met at the ALA Leadership Institute last August and went through this activity together. It was way more intensive over the course of a week, so we really got to bond, but today is a bite-sized version of that. So it was an awesome experience, and we're excited to bring this back to OLA. So today, we are hoping that these are your learning outcomes. We hope that you walk away with ways to clearly articulate your problems and challenges that you're having. We hope that you learn to actively listen to receive constructive feedback and take action toward resolution. And there's a lot of discussion in the chat already about venting and how that's very helpful and cathartic. And yes, that is great in some places. But really what today is about is moving from that place of just venting and going nowhere. You know, you're just frustrated, you're deep in your emotions, you're spinning your wheels. And it's really about going to opening yourself up to receive real feedback that will help you move forward and act towards that resolution. So it's about taking action. It's about when you finally can't take anymore and you need that situation to change, this is one tool that can help you get there. So case studies really rely on an outside view and working with somebody who doesn't know the ins and outs of your problem. So it's not that friend who's on the team with you who's going through it. It's really that outside perspective of someone who doesn't necessarily even know what's going on. And OLA is the perfect place to start for that. You have a network of people that have similar experience and understand what working in a library is like, but don't have that same perspective that you may have. So we hope that you'll utilize OLA and the people you meet here today to build your network that will offer you that honest mirror. And that's a phrase from one of my favorite books, Thanks for the Feedback. If you haven't read it, this is a great thing to follow up with after session today. So that honest mirror. So it's somebody who isn't necessarily going to tear you down, but is going to say, well, maybe did you say that in a way that could offend somebody? Somebody who's going to be honest with you and move you forward out of your shell. So Kylie's going to tell us a little bit about where this activity came from.
Yes, absolutely. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Kelly and I met at ALA Leadership Institute, and this was mainly the basis of what that institute looked like. So we all came to ALA Leadership Institute with a little bit more preparation than what you have today. We actually put together our case studies beforehand, submitted those, and then whenever we got to Leadership Institute, we were broken up into small groups based on similar library type, like public, academic, library size, that kind of thing, or by the specific case or challenge that we were presenting and working through. We would then, review each case brought by each group member with the lens for that specific topic and offer support, ideas, just brainstorm with them, and ultimately help each group member come up with solutions, or at the very bare minimum, just a more thorough understanding of the issue that they're trying to work through. And working through this process really helps you understand that there may not be solutions for every single challenge that we face. And I like to think of it like this, that if it's truly a problem, you'll be able to find a solution for it. But a lot of times what we think are problems are sometimes polarities that we have to just manage. And this is also a great way to work through that as well, to come up with solutions on how to manage something that there may not be a black and white solution to that problem. And the best part about this entire process is that you walk away from it the way Kelly and I did, with, a new network, new friends, colleagues, peers outside of your particular library or your library system, who you can trust, who can be that mirror that Kelly mentioned, who you can brainstorm with, and it just becomes like a safe space to bounce ideas and build your own skills in the process. So that in mind, as we move into this phase where we're going to break up into groups and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the things that you're dealing with individually, some things to keep in mind. And we went through these as a group and a team, and really, verbally, and I think maybe even signed a commitment that during this whole process, we would keep these ground rules in mind, because you can't really be open and vulnerable with people if you don't feel safe. And so that's the most important part of this. So the things that you hear today, please keep that to yourself amongst your group. Don't go back and share, with your, colleagues or that kind of thing, so that people really can feel the safety of that group atmosphere, and you can all get the very most out of it. So of course, keep the things that you work through today confidential. Stay open-minded, and they may have different opinions and ideas, perspectives. And that's really what makes this such a great exercise overall. So stay open-minded, be vulnerable, open yourself up, admit whenever you don't have an answer. It's okay. That's the whole point of us coming together and doing these exercises. And just be respectful of time as well. I know that it's really hard. We only have a limited amount of time today to meet, and you want to go into like major backstories that not everyone will understand. But actually, it doesn't always benefit you to go that far back and to give all the background of, well, of course this won't work because you don't know this person that I'm dealing with, and 5 years ago they did this thing, and on and on. It's really nice for that other person to come at it with a blank slate and to not have the full backstory that you have, so that they can offer you a different perspective. So just be respectful of time too, so that everyone has a chance to share.
So this is what a full case study looks like, and it looks similar to your handout with a few little changes. The form that we're using today, like I said, is with a time constraint. So you'll notice that in a full case scenario, you really have that time to dig in. You can sometimes apply a lens like we did. We talked about trust, and then we reviewed a case study through the lens of trust. We talked about innovation, then we reviewed a case study through the lens of innovation. So that's a fun activity too, if you have a group that you're wanting to, add that extra layer of professional development to it. So that's an option in the future. Today, again, we'll have about 20 minutes for everyone to share their case study and give feedback. So we aren't going to type a full page of text. You're just going to have a couple problem statements or one problem statement and a couple sentences to explain your issue that you're having. But the same concept applies here. So you're going to start with a problem. What is something that you've been facing? What's something that's holding you back? What's something that's been frustrating you? You're going to provide background that will help answer that question about either your organization or that scenario, or, just give context to people. Assume that they know nothing about your organization or anything, or even libraries sometimes. Explain your problem. What is the problem that you're having? And then you're going to end with a question or a problem statement. So that's really where you narrow down, this is the issue I'm really having. And sometimes that's even cathartic, I will say. Once you can finally put your finger on it, you're like, oh, okay, that's different from what I thought I was having an issue with. So we're going to practice this today, and Kylie went over some ground rules already.
I will say, Kelly, really quick, Jason in chat was asking if the question that we're looking for is more personal or professional. I think today for this particular case study, we're looking at like the professional lens of an issue that you're dealing with professionally right now.
Yes, thank you, Kylie. Thanks for that. And thanks for that question. So some tips for when you're giving feedback. I guess first we should say we're going to break you out into groups, so don't panic, but you'll go into a breakout group and you're going to have some time before that to write your case study. When you go into your breakout group, we're going to give everybody a minute or two to share, and then a few extra minutes for people to give feedback. So when it's your turn to give feedback, you've listened to someone's case study and you're ready to share your thoughts. Some tips for that, seeking clarification. Again, if something doesn't make sense, ask those deeper questions and probe, of what exactly does this committee look like that you're on? Or even if it's, I'm not sure what the problem is, help them think that through. Avoid problem solving. That's maybe the hardest. You're not going to just say, well, you're going to have to just kick all those people off your committee and start over. Avoid that problem solving right out of the gate. You really want to help this person think critically about their problem and think in new ways. And sometimes presenting a solution is great, but also having that thought process and having that person internalize your questions and think on it sometimes can have some greater outcomes than just saying, well, I know the answer. Obviously, you need to fire everyone and start fresh. Like maybe think outside the box. And then it's okay to give honest feedback. Be constructive though, and be respectful. So it's okay if you don't agree. The whole point of this is not to empathize and say, man, yeah, that sucks. It's okay to say that, but also be constructive. Give some feedback that will help them think outside the box and move forward. So keep these tips in mind when it's your turn to give feedback, especially also if you get stuck, if there's a problem and you don't know the answer, just think of these, of what questions could you ask, and continue that process of asking questions and hearing the answers. And then I think you'll be surprised to see what comes from that. Kylie, you want to add anything on this slide?
No, I just think that's really important, the being constructive piece, because it is easy to get dragged down into the problem. And sometimes it's nice to validate the other person and sit down there in that hole of empathy with them. But you have to find a way to offer a ladder to climb back out to in a constructive way. So yeah, that's good. Good advice, Kelly.
Then when it's your turn for receiving feedback, I put this slide second because sometimes this is really hard. I think this is the part that all of us can continually work on when you receive that criticism or that constructive feedback. I will say first, listen, hear them out, let them finish their thoughts. Even if you want to say, well, Susie does do that wrong every single time, and that's why I'm having this problem. Just listen, take a moment, just continue to breathe and hear out your group. Answer the questions that they ask, even if it seems obvious, that might be them helping process their thoughts. And so any information you can give them that helps your group understand the situation better will benefit you as well. Avoid defending. That's maybe the hardest for all of us, but that defense can often be a default. So be conscious of your gut reactions and your defaulting behavior, and maybe just, again, with that listening, take that time to not respond immediately and reflect on how that makes you feel. That sounds a little warm and fuzzy, but really think about how that made you feel and work through it. Acknowledge that, put it aside, and move forward. And then, like Kylie said, just be open and be vulnerable. Sometimes it is a simple solution. In our group, without sharing any details, we had some that were like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Okay, cool. What's next? We got there. And then some solutions take a long time. Sometimes you may not ever get a solution, but have that time and that deep thinking, and maybe, this time next week, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night with a brilliant idea. Don't we wish? But sometimes it does take time, or it resonates, or, the more you talk with people about this issue, the more feedback you'll get, and maybe patterns will appear. So just be vulnerable, be open, and just trust that the folks in your group are here to help you. Anything you want to add on that, Kylie?
No, just vulnerability is key to this whole process.
Absolutely. So this is our mini case study guide that you should be able to download from the conference page. And we're going to give you 5 minutes, and we'll say when to start to work on this document silently. You can write it down, you can type it out, whatever works for you. And then after those 5 minutes are up, Amigos, our friends at Amigos, are going to break you off into breakout groups. And you're going to have probably just a minute to share your case study. So keep it short and concise and clear. And then we'll have about 3 to 5 minutes per person, hopefully, depending on your group size, to give that feedback. You may not make it through everybody in your group. Unfortunately, we're on a time limit today, but that's why we asked you to share your contact info. We hope that you will follow up with one another, or find others in this that you've met throughout conference and gotten to know that may be outside your network. So please know that that's okay, and that we do encourage you to continue this conversation outside of this 50-minute session. So logistics, Amigos is going to break you out into breakout rooms, and if they can be the smallest size group possible for the number of attendees that we have, that would give more time. Don't know what your abilities are, but I believe in you, Amigos. You're amazing. You may have to connect your audio and microphone again. 8 groups, that sounds great. So you may have to connect your audio and webcam, and Amigos is here if you have technical difficulties. This page will stay up, so you can click back to the main screen. We'll have this page up for you to refer back to. Kylie and I are here. The chat will still be here, so if you need anything, just holler. You can click the hide presentation, which is up here in this corner, so that you can see members in your group. So we encourage you to turn your cameras on and talk to each other that way. You don't have to. And Kylie and I will try to pop in as we can. But if you have any issues, just click back to that main room, and we'll be here. So 3:17, we will go ahead and start writing your case study. So Jody, in 5 minutes, we will kick people into groups.
I can do that. Thanks.
Thank you. And if you guys have any questions while you're writing, just drop them in the chat. I also should mention we are going to ask if anybody is interested in sharing after this, but you do not have to. So just keep that in mind.
And you can share also in a way that's not giving your exact issue or problem, but just to talk about like how the process went would be really helpful.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a question what's the difference between questions 2 and 3? So question 2, I have to reread it. That's mostly just telling you your paragraphs. That's where it's usually 1 page. And it helps you describe the situation. Question 3, it is kind of redundant, you're right. But setting the situation and describes the context and then describe the situation itself. So keep in mind, we have people from all different types of libraries. At ALA, we were broken into groups of public librarians were all together, academic librarians were all together. But today you may have somebody who's from a different library type or a standalone library. And, for me in Pioneer, I may not understand how a small library works that's a standalone. So that's kind of the guidance on number 3 is really setting the stage for anything that, you need for your problem, and then the context, and then the actual situation. I don't know if that helps. Great. Okay, so here in a minute, you're going to be zoomed off into your little breakout sessions. You just disappear, you apparate, like poof. And if not, then we will troubleshoot, and you should be able to select rooms too. We did this in a pre-conference, so I'm kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right, I'm going to start sending everyone into the breakout room, so get ready, guys.
Bye, guys.
Hey.
It's going to be fun.
Shala. Poof. It's just so cute.
I know, they're disappearing.
Oh.
I forgot to change the time, but you guys said whatever. Let me know when you want me to bring them all back.
Okay.
So like 20 minutes from now?
I set it for 15.
Okay. Well, looks like we have pretty good sized groups.
Yeah. How many are in each group? 8?
The max I can do is 8 rooms. So it looks like there's a couple of rooms with 5. One room has 2 in it.
Oh, that's good.
So
Well, the room with 2 people will be really fast. They'll get a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. There's 3 in that room now. So
okay.
That's great. And great turnout for a Friday afternoon, if I do say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. And you can pop into rooms too if you want. I don't know if back, but
I know. I don't know how I feel about just popping in. Be like,
yeah, looks like we've got 4 or 5 in each group now. So
perfect.
Good. That's like a perfect number too. Like,
yeah,
it's really great.
Yeah.
Especially because their problem should be pretty succinct compared to like what we had to do, which was a lot more thorough.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and it's hard to talk about them without telling exactly what they were. It's like, but we did. We had a variety of issues. We had some heavy duty ones and some like, yay, that's a good problem to have.
Right. The ones that were like fun, I loved that. That was to get to be creative and But definitely, that's why like when I was going through the slides and kind of like putting together notes about how I was going to talk to them, I was like, I need to let them know that you're not always going to find the solution.
That is so true.
I felt like when we left there were a few that we were like, here's good ways to manage this problem.
Yeah, no, that's
you're going to fix it.
That's the best advice. And I think that's true because I think a lot of times we are looking for that magic answer and it's like we haven't just found it yet. And if I talk to more people about it, it will happen. But no, sometimes it's like an ongoing or it's like a systemic problem that you're like,
well, there's not much I can do about this.
Yeah. I would love to change the world. You're right.
Yes, exactly. Peace and love.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Yes.
Oh.
How's the rest of conference been? Good.
It's been so great. I brag on
You've been so busy.
Oh my gosh. It has been quite a week.
And you won an awesome award.
Thanks.
I was so proud of you. I was so excited when you posted that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was so honored for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I don't feel like a new librarian, but I guess I am. I'm new.
You are, and so deserving too.
Let me just add that, I guess it's been about 10 years. I won the New Librarian Award for the Missouri Library Association.
Oh, wow.
And then 6 years later, I was president of the Missouri Library Association. So that could be coming your way, Kelly.
I can see that happening.
Just adding that.
I'm like,
I
listen.
think we should manifest that into the universe. Like,
I'm just trying to get through 4 o'clock today, and then we're going to Colorado to a cabin. So
nice. Where at?
South Fork. We're going to the Rio Grande National Park. State Park.
You'll have to tell me how it is.
I will. We've never been over there.
I've never been to that area. We usually go to Colorado Springs, but this year we're not doing it. So
yeah, when we go to Colorado, we usually go to Colorado Springs or Estes Park. We haven't been over on that side of the state yet, so I'm rather jealous. But
I know.
The highs are supposed to be like 75, and the lows are like even 49. So I'm kind of excited to be not sweating.
That sounds amazing.
It's going to be so great. And yeah, my husband's, I don't even think he's ever been to Colorado before. So I know. Such a weirdo, but we're getting a cabin. We may or may not have internet access and cell service, and that's okay.
That's fine. No, that's better than okay.
But
you don't get eaten by a bear, but other than that, you're good.
You're the second person to say that today, Kylie. Talking about
we not manifest that into the universe. Pull it back in.
I know. They actually said it was going to be a mountain lion, but then I said, well, I think a bear, might be more likely, but we'll see. Hopefully we make it back. If not, it was a good run. We ended on a good high conference.
What a way to go. Also,
what a way to go.
A bear attack. That's epic.
Yeah. Oh man. But no, conference has been great. And this platform is amazing. Amigos is so great. I keep telling everybody that I know that they've been so wonderful and troubleshooting, putting together everything and making it run so smoothly. So
thanks. We appreciate the kudos.
That's awesome.
I don't know what happened to room 6, but poor Jolene's in there by herself. So I don't know what happened.
Oh no. Did somebody leave?
I don't know. Last time I checked, there were 4 or 5 in each group, so
maybe they're back.
That is the difficult thing about not knowing.
Yeah. Like, are you here?
Oh, I think they came back into the room because now I see Jolene back in the main room. So.
Oh, okay. They're hanging out.
Hard. Okay, just wanted to make sure nothing happened and that room crashed or something, but
crazy.
This is fun. I just know that there are a lot of great discussions happening in there right now. I'm sure.
I'm sure it's awesome. Hopefully not too much venting.
Yes, more enlightenment.
I know that's hard. It's hard though. I mean, especially even right now, whenever all of our libraries and just every human in particular is going through so much with the pandemic that it's hard not to vent.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree that it's cathartic and it has its place. You know, you do need to get things off your chest, but
right. But you can't stay in that spot.
Yeah, it's true. For your mental health too, you know, I think being stuck in that state for so long, or you know, you just never get out of it. So
no, and it's not like a good experience to be stuck in anyway.
Yeah,
It's gonna bring you down.
it's true.
Yeah. I watched this video. I think it may have been at ALA or PLA. There was a session about like empathy, and it was talking about like building empathy with your customers and that kind of thing. And there was this video that they played that was like really helping you understand empathy. And ever since I've seen it, like I show it to my kids now, like I show it to everybody because I just think it's so awesome. I think it's just a YouTube video, but it's all about like this person, like what empathy is not. Like it's not trying to solve somebody else's problem. It's not trying to tell somebody that like you'll, you know, okay, well, be happy now, like get over that kind of thing. Like kind of crawling into the trenches with that person and like sitting with them and validating like how they're feeling, and then offering them like a ladder to climb out with, not like your solution, but helping them to like build that ladder to climb out of that pit of despair kind of thing.
Yes.
It's just so visual, such a good representation of that.
Yeah.
It can be carried over in so much of just like how we even handle problems and working through things.
I love that. You'll have to send that to me.
I will. I'll find the link because it's just really good. And it was so great to show my kids too, because it like resonated with them because it's so visual and it's kind of like cartoon-ish the way they show it, but it's just really good.
I love that. Sometimes those also the things that are geared towards kids should also be geared towards adults. Just saying. Yeah.
I agree.
I was talking about that earlier this week. Yeah, there's a nonprofit that works with middle schoolers, and they were talking about how they have a YouTube channel and podcast geared toward middle school kids, but that adults could get a lot out of it too. And I was like, I bet we really could.
I bet we could, yes.
There's a lot of crossover.
Yes. It's so funny. My daughter, she's 9, and we were at a store like months ago before pandemic, and she found this little shirt that says like, let's be better humans.
I saw that.
Did you see it? Yeah. So she wears it like, it's like one of her favorite shirts. She wears it and it's soft and stuff. But I swear to you, every single time we're out somewhere and like an adult sees it, they're like, oh. They're like, if a child is wearing a let's be better human shirt, like,
maybe I should be a better human.
Maybe.
I love that. No, I saw that and I was like, everybody needs one.
Everyone needs a shirt.
Yeah. Or something. Like,
it's just like, I feel like a child wearing it is like a reminder to all the adults in the world that like,
yeah,
we're humans.
Yeah, all of us. In some way. Let's do something to better us. I love that.
Mm-hmm. So they've been in there for like 10 minutes now, right? I think.
Yeah.
Because it's 22, so we're good.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes left.
All right.
And then it will automatically kick everyone back into the main room.
Perfect.
Well, I know like the first thing they're going to say is they don't feel like they had enough time.
Trust me.
Yes, I feel it. We've been doing some like conversation, like breakout group conversations with our like leadership teams. And every time we break out, when we get back together, we're like, no,
I need more time. I know. I was trying to remember how much time we had at ALA, and it was like an hour and a half or something, wasn't it?
It was a long time, but even then we felt like we didn't get through it all. Like it was just a lot more detailed though. But
yeah.
And how many people were in our group? Like 6?
Yeah.
I think it was like 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there were 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot.
Yeah, it is. We need to get together with our group again.
We do. That was really fun.
Yeah. I say now that our schedules have calmed down, and I'm like, and they haven't.
Haven't.
But we can make
no time like the present.
It's true. It's true.
Yes.
About a minute and a half left.
I'll go ahead and move, I guess, to the next slide too. Oh, well, there's that.
There's good slide.
That would have been nice to, if I had remembered I did that. There we go. It's like sometimes past me does things that future me doesn't remember doing.
I understand.
Oh, I'm more organized than I think I am sometimes, or less than.
So when they come back, they should still all have like their microphones and stuff on so that we can work through this slide. I can ask the different questions and like ask for some feedback.
Yeah, they should.
Or I can just ask them to turn them on. That works too.
Turn off meeting mute. So let me do that. Meeting mute turned off. So now everyone, should have their microphones ready to go when they come back.
Perfect.
Yay.
15 seconds.
Everybody free.
No. Okay. Act normal. Okay, they're coming back now.
All right. Okay, guys, as you come back in, we did unmute you. So, full disclosure.
Yes. You are unmuted. You can mute yourself if you want, but the reason we unmuted you is that we really want to chat about how the process went and ask some questions and definitely want your feedback.
Yeah.
Yay. So welcome back.
First note in the chat is I needed more time. We were joking while you were talking. That would be the first comment.
Yeah.
We were talking about how long we had at ALA, and I think we had 6 people total, but each person got about an hour and a half, I believe. And even then, we didn't make it through, and we always said the same thing. So, so that's a good tip too, is maybe you do set a time limit for yourself because there will never be enough time probably. So, set a timer for yourself so that you can also regroup and get a fresh brain. But yeah, we want to hear from you. How did it go? What was it like or receiving feedback?
Definitely. So if anybody wants to give kind of just like their opinion or update or feedback, just like what was it like to give feedback, and did you feel comfortable giving that feedback?
Everyone should have, if you have a microphone, your mic should be unmuted. So please, or you have the ability to use your microphone. So please, if you have a mic, unmute yourself and discuss, or you can still use the chat box.
Anybody brave?
Brave people out there.
I was going to say our group was really awesome. We didn't have enough time for everybody to share it. I hate that. But I think to me, I love these types of exercises. So I really enjoy hearing the feedback, and I heard some feedback that I hadn't have thought about before. So that was very helpful for me personally.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear.
Hi.
Hi.
Just jumping in. I was just going to say, even though we ran out of time, we weren't able to go through everybody. What was really helpful was realizing like whatever issue was being brought up, we all had dealt with at one time or another. So even if, we couldn't say, well, we solved it, so here's how you can solve it. It was more of a, oh man, I totally get it. But that was really helpful because it's hard for us to not feel siloed, especially right now. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, Kelly and I were just talking about that. Thank you for sharing that, because we were just talking about how, at the beginning we talked about like not, venting and moving to enlightenment, the whole point of this, but we also know how like therapeutic it is to just relate to somebody else and to feel like you're not alone in the problems that you're facing. We know that we just can't stay in those places. So to have somebody else in your groups like experience the same thing and say like, oh man, I know, I've been there. And then to be able to offer that guidance is really huge. So thank you. I'm glad it worked out that way.
So glad. And you have that network of people that now those people are experiencing that. So if you have a breakthrough or something that went horribly wrong, you have those people that you can reach out to and say, hey, remember that problem we were talking about? This is what I experienced, and share that way too.
And I saw in the chat, I'm not exactly sure, but somebody was asking if there's a way to know who was in each group. I don't know if that's possible, but I think that would be really awesome if you guys want to connect and follow up, which that's why we asked in the shared notes, you can see everyone's contact information. So hopefully you got the names, or people at least had a chance to introduce themselves for your group. So definitely we want you to connect and follow up after this and continue to share.
Definitely. I was going to take a picture and then I thought maybe we wanted to keep that private. So I should always take a picture is what I learned. But what was it like giving feedback to somebody? What was easier, I guess? Was it easier giving feedback or receiving feedback for those of you that got a chance to do one or the other or both?
It's a little uncomfortable if you don't know the person. So if we didn't know, I think it'd be a little bit easier if you have a relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, definitely pros and cons to that. It's nice to have somebody who's totally out of the picture, but also maybe you don't know if they're sensitive about a specific way to receive feedback.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think on the other hand, it also kind of forced me to give more objective feedback because I didn't know the situation, so I couldn't fall into that, oh my gosh, I know, right? Sort of thing that you can fall into when you know someone and know a situation. So I was, I think, probably more objective than I would have been if I had known the people better.
Definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
I was going to say, and same for giving or for sharing your problem. When you're forced to talk to people that you don't know about it, it can be different, and you can realize things about yourself or that situation, even in just sharing that and trying to write it objectively. You're sometimes so blinded by your emotions or by something that's so personal to you that when you have to think of, okay, I can't call this person a, poo-poo head right now. How am I going to explain this? That really helps get you out of that mindset too.
How did you guys feel about receiving the feedback?
Well, I want to thank my team because I got really good feedback on mine. I appreciate that. It was actually a real life problem, and I don't have all my ducks in a row. I found out I need to do some things before I start swinging.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Sometimes it is really just about, when Kelly and I had our groups, sometimes we weren't able to just offer clear solutions, but we were able to help that person continue to talk through their problem until they felt like they had an even bigger picture. More pieces started to fit into place. And I feel like just becoming more organized with your problem and their understanding of it is a part of a solution in and of itself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to we do want to wrap up. I just realized what time it was, but I love this and we'd love to follow up with you. So keep the chat going and we'll continue. And I guess we already did that. But the next step. So what can you walk away from today? We know that was a short period of time. Hopefully you got to connect with some people. But really, we want you to commit to action. So whether that's trying this in your daily life, following up with the people that you met here today, even trying out some of that feedback. It looked like in the chat that a lot of you got really good feedback. So apply that, see what happens. Was there a simple solution solution? Do it. Was there not a simple solution? Reflect on that. Take that time to think about everyone's feedback that they gave you. What patterns did you hear, from the feedback you were getting? Was it a communication issue? Is it a restructuring issue? Is it, a attitude issue? What common threads did you see? Keep in touch. Again, we can't drive this home enough, but really that's what OLA is for. It's to build your network. It's to build yourself professionally and with these people. Everybody who's involved in OLA wants that out of this organization, or else they wouldn't be a part of it, right? So find out who is in your groups. We'll work on that behind the scenes. And you could even do an all call, but connect with one another and continue to build your network, and then repeat. Continue this cycle. Consider using different lenses, like we talked about, of trust. Is this a trust issue? How can we look at this through this different lens, or with this particular group of people? Kylie and I were just talking about how we had followed up with our group after ALA, and we need to do that again. It's been a long time, and now that the world has changed, we really do need to reach out to one another and have another touch base, even if it's not a full case study, just to say, hey, how are things going in your world, and how has that progressed? So you really can build relationships with people through this. And then privacy. Again, please be respectful of everybody sharing today and everybody being vulnerable. And we all have our personal issues that we are brave in sharing. So keep those to yourself. And Kylie and I were saying it's hard not to share what we talked about in our sessions, because we want to respect that privacy as well. So just keep that in mind. But anything you want to add, Kylie, before we put our slide up for questions?
I just think the keep in touch piece is so important. Like Kelly said, this is what OLA is to be that network of people for you to, be your mirrors, to be, those sounding boards that you need. And this is a great first step in that. You've already been introduced in small groups, so keep in touch with those people. I know Kelly and I had never met each other until this Leadership Institute, and now we talk all the time. And it's been an invaluable resource to me in working through library issues and challenges and struggles that I face too. So really do stay in touch with the people you've had a chance to meet with today, because it'll be invaluable to you in the future.
Absolutely. It really does make a difference, and it will help you get outside your mindset. And I saw in the chat, it'd be a great exercise for your team too. And I totally agree. I think it does change a little bit if it's people that you know. So I would encourage you to also try it with people you don't know. I think both are very valuable, and absolutely a great way to get outside that mindset of, we're just frustrated. It's a problem that I can't get past because of my circumstances. So, and let us know how it goes. We're not experts. We just went through it once and got a lot out of it. So we'd be interested to hear how your experience goes even after this. So this is how you can get in touch with us. Feel free to email us anytime. Like I said, I contact Kylie on the regs. But anyway, thank you guys for staying and bearing with us and being our little breakout Zoomies and just hanging in there in the last day of conference. So,
questions? Okay, lots of thank yous. Thank you guys. You're amazing. Thanks for being vulnerable with each other, and and sharing your issues and your problems and your challenges and struggles. That's a hard thing to do. And to be vulnerable in and of yourself, to accept criticism or feedback or all those things, like, that's difficult stuff, and we're all dealing with those challenges. But you don't have to do them alone, because now you have this great group of OLA peeps that you can do it with.
Forever. Or until you're paying your dues. But oh, thank you guys. We'll hang on for a little bit, or until we get kicked off. We'll see.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I'm going to keep the room open for just a little bit longer while I try and find a way to get that information on the breakout rooms.
Thanks, Jody.
Yeah.